News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Welcome to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning.
And I'm Allan Gilbreth with darkoakmedia.com.
And I'm Maximilian, wishing we could have sunk our teeth into National Sandwich Day, but we missed it.
Oh God. What day was that, Max?
I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. I can't remember.
It's National Sandwich Day every day around here. Nice. Okay.
There's plenty of bologna to go around.
Yeah. Anyway, you can call. Well, next year we'll be ready
there
for it.
There we go.
You can call. What do we say? Yeah, this is Tool Talk Radio. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. And we strongly encourage you to go to Tool Talk Radio on Facebook because we've already posted two items, Allan. We posted our must-have item of the week, which is, if you look at the picture, folks, you're going to notice how well-worn this item is. It's because it gets a lot of use. And, Allan, I think you use this item as well. So
I do indeed.
Yeah, so you and I are proponents of this. And so, don't shame me because it looks a little worn out. Hey, it gets used, man.
It looks loved.
Exactly. So, but we also posted something, and we're not going to tell you what it is, but
it's pretty self-explanatory.
In Allan's Week in Review, it's funny because, Allan, from week to week, my work is sort of the same every week. I mean, more or less. I'm not going to lie. Every week, when I ask you what's going on, it could be. It's all over the map.
My week is psychotic.
And this week, Allan was good enough to get photo evidence of the, something his coworker did that was not good. So anyway, Allan, in great moments in building history, I think this is a fair discussion. We're going to talk about Lego factories.
Oh yeah.
Okay, because you
yes.
talk about a marvel. Okay, we always talk about business cultures. The Lego company's business culture is without equal. I mean, it is easily the best toy line in the world. And when you learn more about how they're produced and the ethics that go behind it and everything, it's really impressive. And it actually ties into home improvement, folks.
Well, I know we call them toys, but they're just so much more than that.
Oh,
they're not toys. They're a sophisticated interlocking brick mechanism.
They're not
Easily.
toys. They're a lifestyle. So,
yes.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to get into that. Allan, I'm really loving our new design flaws segment. Boy, do we got a juicy one today. And we're not going to tell you what it is.
Oh.
I over-tease too much, Allan, so I'm not going to do that anymore. So we got Allan's Week in Review. And later, you know what? It occurs to me, Allan, I don't know in all the years that we've been doing Tool Talk if we've ever really had a good, solid discussion about dowels.
No, we have not.
We are long overdue for a dowel discussion.
Tragically overdue.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we got the must-have. We got a lot of other stuff. And Allan, you've got a really interesting science story. I do want to tease this because this is sort of another indication of where we're going with energy technology.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely.
Anyway, so a lot of good stuff today. But Allan, we've got kind of a listener request that we're gonna get to. So let's hit that first. Pretty simple question, Allan. And I know we've discussed it on the show, but let's do this again.
Okay.
What are some of your favorite home improvements you've done for under $100? Okay.
Oh wow.
How long is this show today? 2 hours? Okay, because I'll let you go first. I've already got a pretty quick list here, but
anybody that knows me can win money on what I'm going to say next.
Yeah,
Just go ahead and place your bets now.
We already know.
Because you know that I'm going to say cabinet knobs.
Okay, what is it about cabinet knobs? And I got to say, Allan, we just replaced our cabinet knobs because we're doing. It's cool. You're like, boom! It's brand new. It looks neat.
It is shocking how something that seemingly insignificant can make to your refreshing of an area.
That's true, yeah.
Well, the other thing that happens, I find a lot of people, a lot of cabinets from about 20 years ago have absolutely almost completely unusable knobs.
Well,
you got to reach in them, or you got to hook it with a fingernail or something to get it open.
Or and the surface is peeling off.
Yeah, and when you swap these things out and get something you can get a grip on, and now the cabinet's easy to open and easy to move, it's just amazing how something that simple makes that big of an effect.
May I piggyback on that thought, Allan? Because here's the thing. One thing I've noticed, and so let's suppose you are changing the knobs, and that's it. You're not changing anything else. Get yourself a little pack of washers, because we've seen there's those high traffic knobs where you're using them all the time and they wobble and they flop around.
Yep.
it's the easiest fix. You just literally take a washer, you put it on the other side by the screw, and now you have a nice, stable, easy
Good, solid. Now the cabinet open and swings easily. It's just one of those tiny little irritants that now has disappeared.
It's a mental, it's definitely an emotional and lifestyle improvement there. So, all right, Alan, in that same vein, here's one. This one is on the cusp of $100. I'm going to throw it in the mix anyway because I think it's in the ballpark. Changing your shower head. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, absolutely.
I dare say anybody can do it. It's literally a wrench, and you take some of that tape, the
2
plumber's
wrenches
tape,
and some Teflon tape,
and wrap it around. But man, we did that. We've changed our shower head in the last year, and it's got this one's probably closer to $150. However, who cares? And it's an easy fix, and anybody can do it. But it's amazing what a bad shower head does versus one that's got good pressure. And
I mean, look at that Seinfeld episode about the low
yeah, they were willing to go to the black market for their shower heads
for the Commando 420.
Exactly. So yeah, but what a simple fix that is.
I will say, and if you upgrade into like the shower head with a shower wand,
it boom
totally changes the whole bathing experience.
And shower heads are so much better made these days.
Oh, yeah.
So
so much nicer than those old jet streams we had 40 years ago.
I think what it is too, there's so many things that you just get used to, and it's not a big enough deal where you make a special trip or you do something. It's like if you just make a list of some of these annoyances or something, and you fix them, it's amazing how much it changes your life. So
it does.
Alan, like you said, if anybody's listening to the show, they know what I'm going to say next. I mean, it's not even light fixtures.
Oh yeah,
the best light fixture we've replaced recently is in our kitchen. We have a sink, and with a window over it that looks out, and then we have a light right over it. So we got one of those. Have you seen these nifty new lights where they have this sort of retro-looking light bulb? It's like it's a pretty oversized light bulb, but it's got like the coils.
Oh, the filaments and everything in it? Yeah, the decorative bulbs. Those things are great.
And this one gives off a gold warm glow. So when you turn all the lights off in the kitchen except that's kind of our night light. Man, does it look cozy in there.
It's kind of cool honey color for everything. Yeah.
$60. I mean, what do you so what else do you got?
Well, there's so much LED technology these days that is cheap. So you got a dark corner of the room. There's almost no excuse for that anymore.
Right.
Because you can slap an LED something over there and light it up. All right, this isn't really a big home improvement thing, but in the spring, you'll appreciate this. Make sure your chimney cap is good.
Boom.
Because let me tell you, when you have to live in the video game Angry Birds all one summer.
Oh, yeah.
Because every time a bird flies by, 400 of them in your chimney begin screaming hello. It is an amazing amount of racket. Plus, it's dangerous because those nests can burn.
I mean, Alan, this is probably a good time to discuss chimney caps because, I mean, the leaves are falling. They're finally coming down, and that is an easy fix. I personally like the chimney caps where they have like a little it's kind of a wire wrap around it where you could, I suppose, bugs could get in, but you're not going to get birds or squirrels.
You want to keep the squirrels out,
right? And what a difference that makes, because like you said, anything can blow in there. It's amazing that we still have chimneys where they're just open to the wind, because I mean rain's coming in there.
Yeah, it's a little spooky. And kind of the terrifying side of that is it's not just birds that can get down it. I've had a few cases where rats have come down somebody's chimney.
Yeah, a chimney cap's a good one. That's probably on the fence there, right near $100, right? I mean, it's not hard to put in, but you got to put it in properly, of course. And don't put it too close to the because I've seen these chimneys where there might be so it's brick, and then inside of it is like a ceramic kind of pipe. Well, you got to let it breathe too, of course. So
you don't want to close off the chimney, right? Get the proper cap for the proper chimney.
Here's one, and I mentioned this before, but this one really, I notice this every day when I leave for work and when I come home for work. It's a well thought out flagpole display. Like I have my American flag out, and I mentioned this for years. We had this issue of, it blowing around and tangling up.
Right.
And, and I would say if you want to display the flag, you should probably spend the extra $20 to get the better setup. Some of them are not really that great. I hate to say they kind
of blow off the house.
Yeah. But and then I told you how I use those weighted magnets at the bottom, and that's been the key. Like I took these, I spent about $8. If I had to guess, Alan, I'd say I've got 4 magnets. All told, they probably weigh about a pound. But I put 2 magnets on each side, stick them together, so there's 4 magnets, and then I put it about a foot off from the bottom of the flag, so it still waves. It looks great, but it would take a strong wind to blow that baby up. So I don't know. That was a pretty good question, though. I like that. It's because, man, sometimes we swing for the fences and we think you got to gut everything and you got to, sometimes. And honestly, repainting a room can be under $100.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things you can do that are cheap that are going to improve your home. So,
especially on a blustery morning like this morning where it's been raining all night and leaves have been blowing everywhere, of a good doormat.
Right. Yeah.
A good doormat where you can get the stuff off your shoes before you come in the house.
That's
Makes
a very good
difference.
one. And the right kind of doormat, because, man, you get those ones that flop around, but then, you get the ones that are rugged, they're heavy, and then the kind that are easy to clean, too, that you can take outside and shake off. That's actually a really good one, too, I got to admit. So, all right, folks, that's a good one. And so if you've got any questions like that, you can call or text us. You can text us 24 hours a day at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline. You can even send pictures. 901-683-0989. And, of course, you can call us anytime and talk to us on the show, So, all right, Max, that was a very nice discussion. Let's turn the corner and get on our soapbox here. So, okay.
Looks like a loose nail.
1 out of 25 ain't bad.
You don't have any code violations, do you? Nope.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
What do you think of the house that Love built? Oh, shoot.
Yeah, I think the way these new segments are racking up, Alan, Max, we're going to need a new design flaws, rejoiner. But
I like the clown music for now.
The clown music fits this one. So, and I wonder how many people we're offending with this. So if you're new to Tool Talk Radio, Design Flaws is our segment where we look at things and we frankly just give our opinion. And, one thing you notice is that sometimes you'll go to a big box store or you just look out at what is the latest trend in home improvement. And Alan and I might look at it and go, in 5 years, they're going to be calling us because this thing's obsolete. It's making their house leak. It's so we like to cue in on some of these things that seem like a good idea at the time, but no, I'm sorry.
There's a lot of times you'll see like the big display when you walk in. And it's the big display with the big sign on it, and it's like greatest thing ever.
Brand new.
And you and I will both literally stand there and go, we're going to be tearing those out for the next 5 years.
Exactly. Well, in that vein, Alan, let's talk, and we're gonna do a versus this time. We're gonna talk about the 1970s style. I'm calling it the 70s because I blame the 70s for everything. So the 1970s sliding glass shower doors. Versus modern sliding glass shower doors, because I make a distinction. I think some of the new ones are pretty cool. But Alan, these are sort of the bane of our. I have
you
not
really
ever seen
walk
one
in
that
and
I
know
like.
That bathroom is dated. Find one of these chromium glazed goldfish bowls sitting there on the wall.
And I know people have these, and folks, if you have one and you love it, good for you. That's fine. We're going to give you the insider's point of view on these. But Alan, let's talk about why we hate these, and then some of the nice features of the newer sliding glass shower doors. So,
rolling into the 60s, suddenly we had new glass technologies, and some very high-end magazines started featuring glass encased home features.
Wait, are you talking about because it was tempered better or something?
Well, we just had manufacturing was really kind of recovering from World War II. We'd already gotten through the 50s. We'd rolled into the 60s, and every 5 to 10 years, manufacturing improves just that tiny little bit.
Right.
So now we have kind of the birth of the larger hardware store. Yeah. So people can buy, and there was also from the 60s, the big craft movement. So there's all kinds of textured glasses and stuff like that.
Because these
all
usually
coming
have
out.
like a frosted or a textured
Right.
glass.
So
to
all
it,
of these things are becoming more available to the average person. And suddenly, well, now some companies come along and go, hey, we got a great idea. And what we're going to do is we're going to build this kit
Right.
so that you too can have a grotto shower. I
Yeah.
remember one of the ads. Oh, it's terrible. And it was just kind of based on the ideas and thinking of the time. But all I got to say is, I know they were dealing with water. Did they not understand water wants to go somewhere?
Bingo. See, that's the thing, Alan, because like the typical design, you've got a metal frame, you've got rollers on the top and the bottom,
Right.
and you've got rubber gaskets, and water's going to get inside that rubber gasket. It's going to do it slowly, but it's going to get in there, and once it's in, it has nowhere else to go. Flaw number one. And they have these little drainage holes, but that doesn't do anything.
Well, they blocked up within like an hour.
They block up in an hour. So then you're creating basically a bacteria factory in there.
Oh.
And you've got all of these screws that are screwed in. Some of them they're screwed into the tile, they're screwed into the wall. You're putting holes in your tile, which is, more, that's a hassle. But the other thing was they don't roll very well. Some of them roll, but I can remember people that have them where they jam up and they fall off the edge. And if you've got a kid, you don't want them in the shower and the shower door falls off the rail, and that's a safety thing at some point. And it's just the funky, mildewy, gunky, and to me it also closes up the bathroom. It's like, if you have a shower curtain and you open it, suddenly it opens up that whole space. These doors, it feels kind of claustrophobic in there.
Big closed things. All right, kind of one of the terrible little hints. And when I was working on houses back then, you'd kind of go in and you'd look in the windowsill, and there's always a dead insect or two, floating around. There's always something that didn't make it out of the house.
Right.
And we used to find these tiny, tiny little gray, fluffy looking moths.
Oh,
the problem is those are slime moths, and they're little
they
maggots.
Eat slime.
Live in slurry water,
right?
And you would every house that had those showers, had those little bugs somewhere in the house.
Yeah, they're and the screws come loose. It's just not.
And the worst part is when you slid the door open and all like the algae came scooshing out over the edge.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
So the modern shower doors, because they're, we want to give hats. For one thing, they look cooler. I mean, there's many designs, but what I've noticed is they do that sort of farmhouse door. What do they call it? A barn door thing where all of the rollers are up above. They're generally on the outside,
right?
So they're not just getting soaked with water, and all of the edge, everything else is glass. So you still have to clean a shower, and you still have to clean the glass doors. However, they're less likely to mildew. They do look cooler, like I said.
Drainage works 100% better now than it did 30 years ago.
Yeah, they let gravity work. They let the water go down the drain, and you maybe wipe it off with a towel, or you just let it, let the circulation dry it or something. But so we're not again. I am not anti shower door, Alan.
I'm just anti the 40-year-old shower door. It's time to get a new one.
Right. And I would say this also goes true. Have you seen these? These are even worse. These accordion type shower thing. They're almost like a plastic, and they fold it. That's even compounding the sin.
There's so many cute things people think of for bathrooms that I could just go on like a 2-hour rant about the wrong kind of doors, the wrong kind of cabinets. What were you thinking when you put that tile in there?
Yeah.
What do you mean you didn't use a grout sealant?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, just so many horrible, horrible things people have done.
It's funny, Alan, because I got to admit, as a younger carpenter and as a younger person starting in contracting, I thought about water, but I don't think about water the way I do today. Like, I think of water down to the microscopic level, and I'm like, we need water, we need to drink, we need to wash, but as we've said many times, water is the enemy. It's like
it is
keeping
now,
water
man.
at bay in your house and humidity, and it's just, and the glass shower door is sort of a prime example.
Well, again, as we have since from the 70s to now, building a house has changed.
Sure.
And our houses are sealed up tighter than a drum, better insulated, better cared for, and can even be completely automatic. But if you didn't solve a problem like moisture content,
Right.
now it just gets worse.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, Alan, all right, I didn't go off as much as I could because I get very emotional about these shower door. I've dealt with them. I know you have as well, and they're frustrating. Or the call I used to hate, and is, can you fix my shower door? I'm like, yeah, I got a sledgehammer, and I'm going to be taking it out to the curb.
No problem.
Well, Alan, let's get okay. We've talked about flaws of the past. When we come back, we're going to talk about the future and, the future of energy technology. Okay. This is sort of interesting. You're talking about the world's first sand battery. Mm-hmm. How's that? That's very interesting. You're listening to Tool Talk Radio here at News Talk 98.9 The Roar Memphis. We'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan. News Talk 98.9 The Roar of Memphis.
Allan had his phone on as he encountered that annoying coworker the other day. Yeah. Very good, Allan. Anyway, welcome back to Tool Talk Radio. That one threw me off a little, I got to admit. Coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios, I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from Dark Oak Media and the ever, surprising Max behind the glass. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. And I would say it behooves you to go to Tool Talk Radio on Facebook today because there's some pretty funny. There's one funny thing, Allan's Weekend Review, which is suddenly turning into another. I don't even know what to combination. Critter Wars, 30 Years of Stupid. How to deal with annoying coworkers.
It's an excuse to play a certain type of music that I quite enjoy.
So we put, and Allan has photo evidence of a really just kind of tragic encounter this week that he had with a coworker. So it's up there. And we also posted our must-have item of the week. That's there as well. So in a minute, Allan, we've got a very interesting story about the future of energy technology. But you know who's going to be right in the middle of that conversation?
Oh, absolutely.
And we may as well bring him up now because he's one of our favorite people in the world, Larry Brown from Brown Refrigeration. Because, let's face it, it was interesting. We had him on a couple of months ago talking about the beginnings of air conditioning.
Right.
500-pound units that were in the windows. They cost a fortune.
Yes.
They were death trap. They were, everything.
And we're only going back to the 60s.
Yeah, and that's not that long ago.
Not that ancient.
And HVAC technology is something that's always evolving, and Brown Refrigeration is always at the cutting edge. They deal with trained systems. So right there, they're dealing with top-notch systems. And also, they tie it in because, let's face it, every one of us has a phone in our pocket now, and they tie it all in with smart home technology. So, man, it's not only more efficient in the way it operates, but you can control it. I mean, you can be at work and go, you know what? I don't need the house to be 70 degrees right now. Nobody's home. I may as well dip the temperature. I might give a little scan and make sure everything looks okay on, and it's all done from there. And also, what's great is the technology of producing clean air, which is done through the one of the ways. For one thing, they do great duct cleaning work. That's sort of how often do you think we should clean our ducts, Allan? Every year or two?
If you're out in Arizona, probably once every 5 years. You're someplace like the Mid-South, Holland, capital of the known universe.
If you got pets and
every
everything
couple
else,
of years at least. Yeah.
Do that. Get it clean, and once you've got your system clean, also you want to upgrade it with the Remy Halo system, which is basically the UV power of the sun inside your HVAC system, so that every time you're blowing out air coming out of that vent, it is not only clean air, it's air that is cleaning. It hit every surface it hits. It's these little scrubbing particulates are cleaning the surface. And especially this year, we're dealing with the flu. We've got COVID still floating around here.
It's flu season again, everybody. It is.
And also keep your HVAC system maintained like you would your car. So when you find a company like Brown Refrigeration, stick with them. You're going to have a lifelong relationship, and they're just as solid as they can be. They've been around forever. They've got a great business culture, and they answer their phones.
Yes, they do.
So give them a call directly. You can call them at 901-362-1881 or go to their very easy-to-remember website, brownref.com, and also jump over on their Facebook page. They actually pay attention to their Facebook posts. So, all right, Allan. Well, let's get sciencey.
Hail science!
This was interesting.
Well, you and I love to talk about batteries.
Yeah, because really that is sort of as the batteries improve. I mean, Allan, that's what got me to retire.
You and I have
Blue.
known each other, let's just say, more than a decade.
I would say when I first met Allan, I wasn't anti-battery, but I was not.
Yeah, you were.
I wasn't shouting from the rooftops about give me more batteries. However, I've totally come around now.
Well, as everything, technology keeps improving. And the one thing you and I keep pointing out is that alternative energies, all right, everything is the alternative to the previous technology.
Right.
So, you can call it whatever you want.
That's a good
I'm just going to
point.
call it the next generation in energy.
Evolving technology.
But the biggest thing is, what do you do with the energy you're producing?
Right.
That's the big kicker. So we're constantly trying to think of ways of storing energy.
Yeah.
And one way to store it is to the easy way was, you heat water.
Right.
Well, now water stays hot for a while, so that energy is then released back into the environment. If you're someplace like Iceland, you've got basically volcanic vents producing all the heat and hot water you could ever want.
Sure.
Well, what if you're someplace like, Finland?
Yeah.
You don't have a good local volcano helping out. So
you got some other every location has its strengths and weaknesses though. So
so the big thing is, how do we keep, so let's say we're going to use solar energy. Well, it's nighttime.
yeah.
All right, it just got through pouring down rain here. So you're not getting any solar energy for a little bit. But you do get solar energy enough to possibly load it up and store it.
Yeah, if you can, the storing capability is a bigger discussion because you get sunny days, you get cloudy days, but if you can store it for the cloudy days, then you're in business.
So now that gets us into things like lithium and rare earth elements and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Advanced batteries. How about sand?
That's interesting.
Here we go.
Sand battery.
A sand battery.
Huh.
So welcome to the tree-lined country road in western Finland, where 4 young engineers have decided sand. Sand is how we're going to solve this problem.
Huh. Okay. I like the out-of-the-box thinking, because who would go to a sand battery? But
Well, here we go. So solar panels and wind generation turbines are not new in Finland.
Mm-hmm.
These are established technologies. And, of course, the problem is, what do you do with it? You got to store it someplace. So what they've done is they have actually built it's fundamentally a solar-powered battery using sand as the substrate that you would store the energy in.
So you can store energy, but what kind of energy can you store in a
Heat.
Okay, because I was going to say we're not storing electricity; we're storing heat.
No, we're storing we're storing temperatures at like 600 C, and that's about 1100 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay, when does it actually melt and turn into glass?
No, we got a couple of hundred more degrees go before silica begins to melt.
Okay, so you got this hot sand, but how do you get it places? Like, how do you get that?
Well, what they have is they have a series of air baffles throughout the sand storage thing, and this is a highly insulated silo. And during the day, while you've got your solar energy, you are superheating the sand.
Right.
And at night, when you run out of solar energy, now you have superheated sand to drive the turbines.
Okay, now we're talking. Okay, interesting. Can I make an observation, Allan? Because when
Dive
you were
in.
telling me this stuff, I had sort of an insight about what I think the future of energy technology might look like, and it reminded me of the difference between. Okay, I think of traveling somewhere by water. You could get a motorboat and you put gasoline in the boat and you go somewhere or something. Or you could surf and you just ride the currents of the way, you ride the waves, or you sail and you let the wind direct you where you're going, or you use the wind power. And I feel like the future of energy technology is going to tap more into just nature, less about digging things out of the ground and putting it in your engine versus just tying in with the natural functions of the earth. And I think it's going to be cleaner and probably more consistent too, because I mean, I don't think the sun's going anywhere anytime soon. I hope.
Well,
if it does, I guess we got other issues. So what's the difference? But
here's kind of the thing. Everything old is new again. Thermal energy is nothing new. We have Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Sure.
Guess why it's called Hot Springs? It's got thermally generated hot water. So everything new is kind of old. Everything old is kind of new. And it's just how you approach it. So D is going to be the answer. You know, when you took the multiple quizzes and D, all of the above, you know, are we going to have a grid? Yes. Are we going to have renewable energies? Yes. Are we going to use some level of fossil fuel? Probably.
Right.
So once we have a balance between the technologies, this is where we were talking not too long ago about a ocean-powered storage system or generation with the lagoons and the tides. Well, these guys right here, they got their little company called Polar Night Energy, and so they're using a renewable energy to store energy. And the funny thing is, the sand they found that works best is like the stuff nobody wants.
Oh, it's the left. Because it didn't occur to me, but you're right. There's different grains of, there's different types
so that
of sand.
beautiful, fine river grade sand that everybody needs in construction is not what they want.
They want the garbage.
They want the junky stuff.
Oh,
because
well,
that
great.
holds the heat the best. So here they're using the lowest possible grade of construction sand. They're using renewable energy to put the energy into it, and then they're extracting the energy as they need it. And one of these silos can actually crank out about 200 kilowatts of power.
Well, you're making
That's
me,
enough to run about 100 houses.
Well, you're making me wonder, Alan, because my daughter lives in New Mexico. They don't have yards out there. If you have a yard, you're like the freak of the neighborhood. They have, and I got to be honest, I like a little green. It's pretty brown out there. However, you know, it's a desert climate. Well, you could suddenly have your yard powering your house, right? I mean, if you change things up, maybe you go to this sand heated technology. I'm sure there's gravel that might eventually work, but I don't know.
Well, to throw a slight curve on this, of course, she's in New Mexico, where she's more than likely in the next few years going to replace her windows with photo voltage. So her windows will actually, with solar energy, create energy and pipe it straight into the house.
Yeah.
Not to mention solar roofing.
Well, bingo. Yeah. We know the roofing's coming. Yeah.
Well, it's already here.
Right.
It's just becoming more and more mainstream and widespread over the next few years. So these are all interesting twists on using what's available and actually making the best of it.
No, it's great, man. It sounds very interesting. And where are they doing this?
This very first one was up in Finland, of all places. Polar Night Energy is looking at the possibility of replicating this particular site because they are for energy generation, they're relatively low cost. They're not generating or using any exotic elements.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a silo, it's insulation, and it's the cheapest possible sand that they can get.
It's interesting that it's happening in Finland. I'm picturing I'm picturing almost like a giant magnifying glass coming down and heating it up or something like that. But I wonder if there's lenses and if there's different ways they're going to use it, like I'm thinking of The Simpsons with Mr. Burns and his
Well, here's just the out of the box thinking. It's all right. Kind of an old idea. We used to use sand as insulation. We used to use sand as we used to use a box of sand on a boat to keep you from burning it down in the kitchen.
Right.
You know, it's where you put a fire because it wouldn't melt or burn.
Yeah.
So welcome to just what can we do with this?
Yeah. All right. Well, that's very interesting, Alan. And we had another science story. Let's sit on that till next week because I think this one it gives us a lot to marinate about. But Alan, let's turn the corner.
Okay.
Let's talk about Alan's week in review.
No.
It's very oddly appropriate, Max.
I've been waiting for this.
With glee.
for those who are new to Tool Talk Radio, Allan's Week in Review. You know, Allan, you do, okay, I'm a carpenter by, more or less I deal with wood, big deal. I make things out of wood and build things. So, but you always have tales because you deal, for one thing, you have coworkers. I don't have a whole lot of coworkers. I mostly
I
am a
have
solo
coworkers, contractors. I'm a plant director.
You're a plant director. You have state regulations. You're in the medical business. So you have stringent policies you have to file.
I deal with more regulations than a nuclear power plant.
You get the emergency call at 2 a.m. I don't get those. So, so as such, Allan's Week in Review outlines a couple of tales that and we've already posted photo evidence.
Yeah,
of
we're going to talk about that one first.
Okay, so talk to me. Yeah.
So here we are. We're trying to finish out a porch.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big concrete porch. It's covered. It's lovely. All that wonderful stuff.
Yeah.
And it's over the years has had 100 terrible ideas done to it.
Yeah.
It's been bleached. It's been sanded. It's been tiled, if you can imagine.
Yeah.
Of why you would put bathroom tile outside on a porch in the rain. I have no idea. But
wait. Hold on. Talking about a design flaw. They put tile outside with elderly people nearby.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's a slip and fall.
Oh,
the
all had to
attorneys
go,
would have something to say about that.
Yeah, that all had to go by years ago.
Okay.
So that's what we're working behind. And we got through and we did a little light stain on it. We did a little distress wash. And now it's time to seal it up.
Right.
Time to make it look good. We got a good texture on it, so it feels good. It walks good. But of course, when you put this stuff down, the chemical down in the concrete, it takes like 24 hours for it to cure.
Yeah, especially in this time. I mean, we got humidity.
It's that time of year.
Right.
And however, there's another crew working on the other side of some doors from me, and they're doing a lot of sheetrock work.
Yeah.
So they are covered in gypsum dust.
Oh, fun.
They are honestly
that stuff's insidious.
It
gets everywhere.
It lives to find places you didn't know it could find.
Right.
And all right. There's a sign on the door that says "Don't open this door." The door handle is wrapped in caution tape. All right,
I mean, how much more do you want?
There's only so much I can do.
Caution.
And
okay.
I honestly,
so it looks like a murder scene. And
it does. It does. It looks like CSI is here working on a scene.
Right.
I honestly just sealed it. That's not 15 minutes. I am in the parking lot, and I hear bang, 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 as the plastic gives way. And one of the gentlemen from inside the building just do right across.
You didn't call him a gentleman when we were off the air.
There were at least 2 other people present in the parking lot when they discovered that I had the ability to speak in tongues.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because
I mean, it looks great though, folks. If you go to our Facebook page, there are it's like ghost footprints walking across.
It looks like I captured evidence of Casper. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and a salute because I've been nagging you for years. You got to take pictures of this stuff, and you finally did. This was a good one.
I did.
Yeah. So okay, how did you fix it? I mean, what did you? Okay, can I before you weigh in? May I say something?
Dive.
I've encountered situations like this.
Mm-hmm.
My first temptation is to hurry up, get out there, and try to do something. Over the years, I've learned, you know what? Sometimes it's better just leave it alone, let it dry, and then deal with it. It's gonna and it's now. There is a story behind this concrete floor because they're not going to completely disappear. There's going to be little bits of evidence of the footprints.
No, they're gone now. They're gone now.
Totally gone?
Totally gone.
Even if we went out there with a black light and went over
totally
it,
gone.
like CSI?
That's what a little sanding paper and a little more sealant and Windex is for.
Windex is sort of the magic.
Oh, my gosh.
I love Windex.
So the next morning, I go back to the scene of the crime and Windexed out the now all the dry particles that if I had rushed in immediately, I would have just made a bigger mess in the wet sealant.
You smeared it, not to mention all the stuff
right, because I'd have brought my shoes back onto it and all. So the next day, it's hardened enough for me to Windex out all of the loose material and then take a little light sandpaper and
right,
and then carefully you feather in your stuff again, and it's the footprints are now gone.
And this time maybe you chain the door.
Yeah, we got
put the
my
padlocks
gosh.
or something. So,
No, I think everybody heard me yell enough. I don't have to put anything else on that door for a while.
All right. Well, that was a good one. And like we say, folks, if you go to Tool Talk Radio on Facebook, you can see the photo evidence.
Oh yeah.
So
but
all right.
It's okay. I kind of got even with them.
Now, Allan, it wouldn't be a. I'm sure you got your pound of flesh out of that guy. So, all right, Allan, it wouldn't be an episode of Tool Talk if we didn't get into some toilet talk.
Oh.
So you had a toilet adventure as well.
Do you know how hard it is to plunge?
Wait.
Yeah. Okay. All right, you're a little late on the draw, but good job,
he
Max.
was ready. He was ready.
All right, so
you know how hard it is to plunge a medicine cup out of a toilet?
that sounds like an opening line out of Seinfeld coming in from commercial break or something. So,
this would have been the restaurant episode of death.
Yeah.
You know, they
plunging out because those don't obviously break down.
No.
Are you saying people are throwing their
I'm just
cups
saying,
into the
however
toilet?
it happened at one facility I was at, we got a call.
The little water cup that you take a
right, but it's
half an
plastic.
ounce of, right.
But somehow or another,
plastic.
it went down. And of course, nobody told anybody that it went down. And then, of course, somebody came along and put the toilet to use. And now nothing is going to go down.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Those are almost the exact size of the drain.
Perfect. They're perfect.
And the problem with that is
hermetically seal halfway down through that trap.
It's flexible.
Uh-huh.
It's... Oh my gosh, that's awful! I don't know that I've ever encountered that.
So you get the 6-foot auger,
yeah,
and you slowly ease it down in there till you feel it, and then you bang the heck out of it, bam, knock it through.
That's not a great. So you still got a plastic cup and a pipe.
Well, the happiness is I have a commercial trap that will get it out of the system.
But if you're a homeowner, that would be a nightmare.
If you were a homeowner, you were hosed. You would have been pulling the toilet.
I was going to say, Al, if this is let's do our public duty here.
Yeah.
If this ever happens to you folks, or if you get something like that, don't just think, okay, well, I'm going to shove this thing through because once you do, it's still under your house.
Yes.
And it's still going to cause problems. A better thing to do is, like Allan said, get it out. By any means necessary.
So if you take the little snake and you kind of feed it through, the way a toilet works is basically it is nothing more than a curved pipe.
Right. The S-bend we love.
That's all it is. That's all it is. And if you feed that little snake down through there and you make it about 4 inches, maybe 6 inches, and you're going tap, 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 tap. It's time to start quizzing the family.
Yeah.
Because somebody has got something stuck in the toilet before it goes into your pipes.
Well, and if you got a 3-year-old handy and you can give them a nice long rubber glove, that's when you let them reach in. I mean, their hands would be the right size. They could get a hold of it. Right?
Generally, I'm going to tell people you're pulling a toilet. You might as well get a shop vac and get all the water out that you can.
Well, see, you don't have kids, Allan. You don't know the beauties of child labor that you can, get free. But you're right.
I'm not going to suggest that.
But do not shove this. I mean, I think we would shout that from the rooftop. Don't shove anything through because it's still in the pipe. And
yes, the strangest thing I have managed to snatch out of a residential pipe was a series of washcloths, a set of dentures.
Yeah.
And the best thing I ever got out of a commercial pipe was an entire bedroom sheet.
Oh, we've heard the sheet story. Yeah, that
my
one.
Gosh.
Exactly.
That was just horrifying.
Yeah.
Bath towels. I've actually found a bath towel half down the toilet.
That sounds like hey guys, watch this moment.
That
right?
that is a 3-year-old with nothing else better to do but time on their hands. And happily they happen to have a plunger handle that we could tie it to so we could turn it and twist it and roll it and turn it and twist it and roll it and get it back out of the toilet.
I mean, I got to kind of salute the toilet manufacturer at that point. If you've got enough, water pressure that it could, flush a towel, that's pretty good. So.
I mean, I thought your restroom toilet even said, capable of flushing 20 golf balls.
I'm not a big
If that's
fan
your
of that.
selling point,
yeah,
you know, that's,
I'm not a big fan of that toilet, I promise you.
yeah.
So, welcome, just kind of welcome to the strange things that, you just never know what the next call is going to be.
No. Well, Allan's Week in Review is proving to be a noteworthy segment, so we're gonna keep this one up, Allan. This is good. Hey, Allan. Also, in the next hour, we have our must-have item of the week. One of our listeners has weighed in. This may turn into a point counterpoint.
Ooh.
Things are getting dynamic. So, Robbie, hold on. When we come back, we're gonna dive into that. You're listening to Tool Talk Radio here at News Talk 98.9 The Roar Memphis. Hour 1 of Tool Talk Radio is in the can, but stand by for Hour 2. In the can, Allan.
News Talk 98.9 The Roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
And welcome to Hour 2 of Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max over there behind the glass. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. And you can also interact with us through Facebook, like one of our listeners did. We're going to get to him in just a second, Robbie. Hang tight. But it does behoove you to get over to Facebook because sometimes we post interesting things there, Allan.
On occasion.
We post video. I really like that picture that you put up there, the of the encounter you had with an annoying coworker that ruined all of your hard work.
I wish we had a picture of the toilet with a whole bed sheet coming out of it.
Next time.
Yeah, next time it happens. So Allan didn't have a cell phone back then, I don't think. I think
next they're going to say that you flushed a mattress down the toilet.
I mean, it's coming,
they've done
Max.
stranger things to those, trust me.
So, in this hour, we're going to, of course, get to our great moments in building history, which is, believe it or not, folks, there will be tie-ins to home improvement, but it's Lego factories.
Oh,
you
yes.
talk about a model of efficiency, anyway, we're all Lego fans. I know, Max, you grew up as a Lego, that Lego's in your blood. So,
that's probably why I'm so stiff, is because of the blood is all plasticky.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to get to that. But before we get to that, we're going to do our must-have item of the week. There we go. All right, Allan, tell people what I am holding up here.
The can of ultimate polyurethane.
Okay, we got to be careful about not giving bread,
Yep.
It's not ultimate, it's water-based.
No, water-based. Well,
I'm calling it
over that part.
I'm calling it latex, whatever you want to say. Water-based polyurethane is one of my favorite things, but go ahead, Max.
You're really tempting the station and everything. It's like you brought in a Sawzall, you brought in a drill, now you're bringing in polyurethane that could get all over the table.
Well, that's how we roll here, Max. But, latex polyurethane, why are we such fans? I know, Allan, what I put in this, and this seems to be what triggered Robbie, one of our listeners, is, I put in our post, I said it's not just for wood finishing anymore. That's very true. This might have got him triggered. But I will tell you, so one of the reasons I like latex polyurethane is that, for one thing, it doesn't smell as bad. It dries quicker. I like the finish. I mean, now not all polyurethanes are created equal. No. This brand that I personally really like
there are
is a
dozens
good
of
one.
brands, and each brand has a variety of qualities and quantities designed for specific jobs on occasion.
And they don't always yellow. My little trick, when I said it's not just for wood finishing, one of the tricks I've done, and I know you've done this before. So let's suppose you've got a house or some property, and the woodwork is all painted in latex, and you're like, I mean. Normally, I would say, well, just repaint it in oil. Well, maybe you can't repaint it in oil right now. So one little trick you can do is take latex polyurethane, like we've got here, brush it on the high traffic area, like,
where that handprint
where the handprints always wind up. And you won't see it. It's invisible, and it makes it that much more washable. It's not going to be, whatever. It's not going to be perfect, but it makes it a little bit more washable. And then when you go to repaint it, it's latex, so you can paint over it. So
the for the person who's new to DIY, What is polyurethane, Joe?
Well, okay, you're the chemist here. It's basically a clear finish. One of the
It's it. It's exactly. It's a finish.
If you stain wood, the one thing that's interesting too is because I use it for a lot of my wood turnings. I just like it, and so I could use an oil-based stain, but that oil-based stain still dries pretty flat, and the wood is very porous. So believe it or not, even though it's oil-based, I can still top coat it with a latex polyurethane. So, but it's mostly just to seal it up. And sometimes you might just put polyurethane on bare wood, and what it also does is suddenly it makes that grain pop.
Yes, it
like
does.
it makes it. You might look at a piece of wood and it's kind of mundane, and all of a sudden you rub some polyurethane on there, and boom,
it gives it that finished look.
Right.
It is that last touch that gets you there.
Yep. Now, Robbie weighed in on our Tool Talk Radio Facebook page, and here's what he had to say, and I don't disagree with him. And we're gonna expound on his points. He says, water-based polyurethanes are definitely fantastic products. However, proceed with caution. ... Sounds like Robbie's had some experience with it. They can be unforgiving to the inexperienced user. Amen, brother. Also, choose your product wisely. All polyurethanes are not equal. Okay, let's echo those points. He's 100% right.
All right,
and thanks for weighing in, Robbie.
I'm going to start with, the adage, measure twice, cut once.
Boom. Yeah.
Are you really done?
Yeah.
Are you done? No, seriously, ask yourself, are you done? Are you ready to put the finish on? Put it down, go get a sandwich, walk away for a minute, because you might be 3 steps ahead in your brain.
Yeah.
But when you walk back out and you go, oh, I needed to finish this.
Yeah.
Or I needed to tighten that. Because when we said the word polyurethane is a finish, that is honestly, this is about the last thing you should be doing.
Right. All the dust needs to be gone.
Everything needs to be clean. It needs to be dusted. All of the detail work you were going to do needs to be wrapped up.
Well, here's something else that happens with polyurethane. Okay, with latex polyurethane especially. Sometimes I've seen this, and to be honest, I've fallen victim to this when I first started using it, because it was sort of a newer thing. I mean, I remember when there wasn't really much of this. So, but you might put. Let's suppose you're doing. I don't know, like you're putting polyurethane over a door that's maybe 30 inches across and 30, whatever. It's a pretty big surface. So as you're brushing it on, of course, naturally you go with the grain. But when you get to that point where it overlaps again, if it dried too quickly, suddenly that little strip of where it's overlapped gets gummy, or it gets cloudy, and it doesn't dry right, or it and sometimes it's usually with the lower end polyurethanes as well. So you have to be systematic in the way you do it. And you also, it's kind of like what happened with your concrete floor. If it messes up, don't just start smearing it around that. Just let it dry, fix that one area and everything. But it can cloud up. I will agree that part, it takes a little finesse, but also I would not necessarily recommend latex polyurethane on top of, like, I don't know, a tabletop or something, because it is prone to, somebody puts their drink down.
It is a
you may get those
water-based product.
Right. You might get those watermarks. And the watermarks that you get with those are kind of cloudy, as I've noticed. And I would definitely not put it on a hardwood floor. So I use it for certain things. So Robbie, we're not, it's not a universal fix, but I do like it, and it's good for quick things. And I've used it to seal other things. I'm not going to lie, plastic. It's flexible, and it doesn't yellow as much either. So that's another reason I like it. But
I personally like it with. I'm going to throw in router work where I'm doing. Again, I do a lot of different stuff, but we're going to be mounting toilet paper dispensers all throughout a building, but. The client wants something nice, so what we're going to do is go in and make a little routered, if you will, like a plaque to go on the wall for the toilet paper dispenser to go on that.
Yeah.
And that is the perfect use for making sure it is routered, clean, dust-free. It is the stain color that you want it, and then you finish it and seal it so that now you've got a good finished product.
Yep. Excellent. So, Robbie, thanks for weighing in. And, I still stand by it. It is something, it's always good to have a can of this stuff floating around your house. So, but Allan, let's turn the corner. I've been looking forward to this all day. So,
And now, great moments in building history.
Robbie, if you're out there still, if you've got any, we put this call out there every week. If somebody can tell us who that mysterious voice is, we would love to know. The mystery has never been solved.
Yeah, it's shocking.
Anyway, we're talking about, it's funny how, I will say this. Sometimes YouTube does a good job with recommending videos, almost too good of a job.
Well,
they know the way our brain thinks.
You can fall down a rabbit hole real easy.
So, Allan, I'm sitting there minding my own business, watching YouTube, and it says, where do Legos come from? Well, my kids all grew up playing with Lego. I loved Legos as a kid, and I think they're one of the greatest toy. I think it's, you can't even argue. It's got to be one of the greatest toy lines of all time.
They're just amazing.
And so we went down this rabbit hole watching it, and then I convinced Max to go watch some videos. And Max is a Lego fan anyway. And so when you look at the way Legos are produced and the history of it, I thought it was worthy of a great moments in building history because it ties in all future art. I'm sure everybody that eventually worked as an architect was playing with Legos as a kid, don't you think? So
when you said this, the thing that leapt to my mind was in Billund, Denmark, the Lego house.
Yeah.
Which is a 12,000 square meter building that has over 25 million Lego bricks in it.
It was a house actually made of Lego.
It is a house made of Legos.
Yeah.
And I will confess, I have been on several projects, honestly, lab type projects, where we have built equipment out of Legos.
Sure, yeah.
And especially if you glue them together, those things are virtually indestructible.
Yeah. Hey, Max, how do you pronounce the founder of Lego and his son? Because it's him and his son are really the ones that spearheaded this. But
Ole Kirk Christensen, or it's Ole and then Gottfried.
And you're a language guy, so what does the word Lego mean? Because
it's a combination of the words for play well.
Right. Well, what was his name? How do you pronounce his first name again?
Ole.
So Ole was a carpenter. So boom, I'm going to be, interested in that. He was a carpenter going through some tough times because, we're talking right around the Great Depression, which was worldwide, even though he's in Denmark, everybody's getting it. He had some employees. He finally carpentry work dried up to the point where he couldn't employ anybody. So he had all this wood left over. And so he said, well, I'm going to make some toys out of it. He made some wooden toys. The interesting thing is he had some setbacks that really would have kept any normal person kept him back. He had all these toys. He is a detailed craftsman, and he instilled that in his kids. Everything he made was top quality. He started this toy company, and then his factory burned down. And just devastate it ruined his inventory. This is in the middle of the Great Depression and everything like that. He decided to rebuild. The thing about him is all these things led to this great triumph, but he had to go through a lot of pain to get there, Allan. So
up to the point where he finally got a good line running, and because of the impending war,
then
ran
World
out of
War II
materials.
happened. So yeah. But eventually he transitioned from wood to plastic.
Yes.
And that's when things really took off. He came up with the Lego brick. And really, though, you got to credit his son. I forget his name. Max. What's his son's name?
Gottfried,
who was a chip off the old block. Okay, because eventually the first Lego bricks were basically you stacked them on top of each other, but there was nothing holding them together. Well, Gottfried came up with this notion of the interconnecting brick, and that is what changed everything. And he was a man of precise calculation, so they got down to the micromillimeters to make sure these things click together. So.
What Gottfried helped innovate was the fact that you had the tubes inside the Lego bricks and everything to help them stick together.
Yeah, and the thing I liked about Gottfried and his dad is they were saying, okay, they're making for example, their first toy was a wooden duck. Then they made like a school bus, and then they made some things. Well, they're what they thought was lacking in all of this is you're giving a kid something that is already there's nothing.
It's finished.
They don't participate in creating anything. They're like, we want to give something where the kid's imagination is going to unlock that. And so here's a pile of bricks, and you build something, and it just took off. It became a huge success. And but we, today we're and folks, I would encourage you, because Lego is a great company and they have a great business culture, and they quality is number one. And I mean, you go to these factories, you can practically eat off the floor. These things are so. But I wanted to talk about the actual factories, Alan, because the way they're made and the way they're distributed. I mean, I don't even know. I would venture to say just about every household in America, if they have kids, they have at least one Lego set, don't you think? And that's just America. That's not counting the rest of the world. I mean, they have to crank out a lot of Lego. So
yeah. And if you've ever stepped on one at about 3 a.m, you'll learn real quick. Legos don't break either.
Yeah. So, well, I've got some stats here. Let's run them up. So you have truckloads of these plastic granules, and I'm sure you know more about how the plastic is made, but it's a precise plastic. And these things, each it's funny watching the trucks getting unloaded. These hold each truck holds 28 tons of plastic granules.
Yes.
And they have this big hose, kind of like when you go to the gas station and the gas truck's there, and they pump then they pump them into these silos that are 3 stories tall. That's just okay. And there's rows and rows of these silos. You're like, how much plastic are they making here? And then from my understanding is there's only about 7 actual colors. But by mixing the colors in different ways, they can make Legos in like 50 different colors. So
yes.
So what that means though is there is a network of all of these plastic tubes down to the micromillimeter. As far as distributing the plastic, they make it into kind of like a toothpaste consistency, and then they melt them. And the way these things work, they're cranking out like 30,000. Each machine is cranking out like 30,000 units or bricks per hour. It's funny when you watch it. It's just like, I mean, it's impressive.
It almost looks like they're making crackers.
It's
just you have these huge bottom-filled extruding machines that just they're following the die pattern of what is actually installed in the machine, and it injection molds. But the funny thing is the way they've built the machines these days is pretty much a finished product comes out the end.
Well, that's why I wanted to make a slight departure, and we're going to get back to it, but I just want to mention this is the future of home building, Alan. We're going to have parts of our home that are just going to be done in a factory. I don't object to this. It's going to make our homes more affordable. It's like if your kitchen is suddenly 90% made in a factory, and they get a truck and they drop it in, and it's custom designed to your taste or whatever, I'm not really having a problem with this.
Well, we already have 3D printers working on building everything from jet engines to cars to houses.
Yeah. And there are still people in these factories. There's still, now there are a lot of robotics. I will say the Lego was really ahead of the game when it came to robotics in terms of they have these trolleys. They carry these tubs of the Legos from one part of the factory to another. And they installed those like in 1987 or something. So they were way ahead of the curve on that. And the one room that made a huge impression on me is that, so they put them in these storage tubs. They look a lot like tubs you see in NASA, where they, this is what they keep on the space shuttle as far as, they seal and they're durable. And then they put them in this room. It's like 100 feet tall on these racks. There's a crane and it can lift it, insert the tub, grab a tub. It's like the ultimate, robotic library or something. It's really impressive to see.
And all of the feeder tubes are all in the 7 basic Lego colors.
Right.
So if you look at a Lego factory, the Lego colors and configuration is still Lego.
Right.
Everything is Lego colors, Lego proportions.
Right.
And there's a whole lot of Lego safety guys with the signs. They have all their little Lego characters are doing. So the Lego factory is just, it's almost Willy Wonka-ish.
Willy Wonka came to mind a lot while I was watching this video.
And you're going, wow, you guys really leaned in completely into your own tech.
Yeah, yeah. And so, one statistic that caught my attention is, we love the minifigures, and they produce a machine. One machine can produce 7,000 minifigure torsos per hour, and they said that they produce 500 million minifigures every year. And Max thought this was funny. They said this technically makes them one of the world's largest populations or something. So.
That's exactly what I was thinking. That's exactly what I was raising my hand to say.
Oh, I didn't see it, Max.
You
Sorry
stole
about
it
that.
from me.
Yeah. So there's more mini. I wonder what that comes to. 500 million. They've been doing this for. Somebody do the math out there. But,
all I got to say is when you see the warehouse of it,
yeah,
it's very impressive. As you have 90 feet high,
right,
thousands of feet wide of those plastic containers,
it's
all
nuts,
geared and done.
I would say, folks, get on YouTube and watch some videos. And there's a really good one. It's got like 55 million views. It's sort of this computer animated little 15-minute story of Lego's history, and I found it really interesting. It makes you kind of proud to be a part of Lego because it's one of those companies, they have never wavered when it comes to their the importance they put on quality.
I mean, hey, local shout out. We got Dan the Lego Man as a part of the fam.
Exactly. I mean, Dan the Lego
family.
Man is intricately involved over here at 98.9 The Roar.
And what does this have to do with DIY? Ladies and gentlemen, this is a technology that we deal with at the big box store every single day.
Well, exactly. We've talked about how the Lego construction is coming to your home.
It is definitely there. And if you look at even some of the tool systems, you have hundreds of tools that now all interact, or at least use the same battery systems.
Absolutely. So big salute to Lego and keep it coming. We love what you do. Well, we hope you love what we do. If you don't, you can have your money back. Anyway, you're listening to Tool Talk Radio here at News Talk 98.9 The Roar, Memphis. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Oh, I'm afraid the deflector shield will be quite operational when your friends arrive.
News Talk 98.9 The Roar of Memphis.
What? I like fixing stuff.
I mean,
Why?
if you don't have the functioning deflector shields, what's even the point? Why go on? Anyway, well, I like that one, Max. Anytime you can hear from Palpatine, it's a good day. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from Dark Oak Media and our pal Max over there behind the glass.
Making sure the deflector shield's working.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. They didn't work this morning. We're at the studios. We got in. So anyway, you can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. And you can also interact with us through Facebook. We're having a pretty lively back and forth with our buddy Robbie about latex polyurethane.
We are.
So get involved in the conversation. You can see what we're up to. But Robbie made a good point, and I have to at least mention this because if nothing else, Allan, we like to give out accurate information here on Tool Talk Radio.
Yes.
Yeah. No, but he did make a point. We were talking about latex polyurethanes. I had mentioned I wouldn't necessarily use them for floors. Well, apparently I'm behind the times on this. Robbie said, I guess he has experience with flooring. And he said that, no, actually, there are water-based products that do a fantastic job with flooring, and that's great. I'm glad to hear it. That's less chemicals. It's more natural and everything. So, Robbie, thanks for chiming in on that, man. Stay in touch. So, but anyway, now we got to shift gears, Allan. Somehow we got so wrapped up talking about Lego that I missed my cue to discuss our good buddy Jay Hill with Big M Roofing and Remodeling. So before we go any further, let's
start with water is the enemy, and a good roof is your first line of defense.
And I know you and I have the same experience because, Allan, I'll be honest, before I met Jay Hill and when my roof was, 25 years old, I had a roof that was a ticking time bomb. It leaked all the time. I was constantly fixing it. Every time I heard the weather forecast where we're going to get heavy rains, I was dreading it. And suddenly, now whenever we get, we had heavy rains last night.
We did.
And I was basically just laughing to myself, like, well, good for you.
I'm going to sleep good tonight.
Yeah. Right. And we need water. The Mississippi River is It's low. We need some rain. So this is good news. But you have the same experience, Alan. We've had our roof replaced. So if you've got any roofing issues, for one thing, Big M Roofing and Remodeling, 5 stars with the Better Business Bureau, 5 stars with Good Housekeeping. They are got Good Housekeeping. They are a GAF Master Elite Installer. That is a big deal because the roofing systems that the GAF produces come with a lifetime transferable warranty, which never ceases to amaze me. That means you sell your house, the warranty transfers over to the new homeowner. And you talk about a selling point. Anything you can do to give yourself an edge. Plus, that's just a cool thing. It's just a great feature. So, and also what sets Jay apart, aside from his dynamic personality and his ceaseless energy, the guy will wear you out. You know, I mean,
oh yeah,
he's got more energy than
boundless energy.
But is his past experience as a former insurance agent. So because that's one of those, for some reason, it's always tricky to navigate if you have a claim with your homeowner's insurance that's going to cover your roofing, either the replacement or the repairs, and also the damage that's been done to the inside of your home. That's kind of where his remodeling work ties in as well, because you get a leak, it affects everything. It's affecting the sheetrock. It could affect the rafters. So Jay Hill knows how to navigate that entire process, and he really makes it kind of a fun experience. It was exciting getting a new roof. I'm not going to lie, Alan. It was liberating, and it was covered by my homeowner's insurance. It was one of the greatest triumphs in my home improvement history. I mean, honestly, I can't think of a better moment. So.
Well, it's just one of those things that you absolutely positively cannot do without the roof.
Yeah, you got to have a roof.
It's got to be a good intact roof.
And we're talking about how, we always talk about how technology changes. Roofing technology is not what it was. It is so much more sophisticated. It really, it ages so much better now because they have ways of making the roof stay cooler with their ridge vents systems. They're tighter. They're more tightly sealed. They're more energy efficient. And stand by, folks, because we're going to be having solar shingles. They look like a regular shingle, but they're going to be generating energy for your house, and those are coming soon. So, and if you talk to Jay, he can probably update you on that. So, definitely get in touch with Big M Roofing and Remodeling. You can call Jay directly. This is cool. I mean, he gives out his number. You can call his cell phone. Call him at 3 in the morning just for kicks at 901-484-5645, or go to bigmroofingandremodeling.com. All right, Alan, at the risk of over plugging here, because we do this every week, let's at least let people know what we're up to, because we like to talk about what our projects are. So what's going on with Dark Oak Media?
Well, I'd like to give a quick shout out to our podcast listeners that are growing in, of all places, Norway. Hey, guys.
Oh, we were just talking about those guys. So,
Finland, so it's like, hello, Norway and New Zealand.
Yep.
But, guys, pop over to tooltalkradio.com and send us a message, send us some pictures. We'd love to hear some Norwegian or New Zealand DIY. Well, and Joe definitely wants a video of the toilet flushing.
I was going to say, if you live south of the equator, we want photo evidence of the toilets going backwards. So,
of course, last month all of our big stuff was all the scary stuff out of New Orleans, but this month the big hits over at Dark Oak Media it came from the international market, where you get to try snack foods from around the world. And let me ask you this, a little strange game show of obscure knowledge and even stranger answers.
I think obscure is the key word there, Alan. Yeah. Okay. That's sort of your bread and butter, obscurity. So.
Yeah, arcane, obscure, bizarre. We like it.
Okay. So darkoakmedia.com. So, all right, Alan, just because it's that time of the year, and Max, don't roll your eyes at me, but I take off one hat. I'm not talking about my carpentry work today because we are only 2 weeks away from the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention. Year 12.
Very true.
It would have been. It's making me a little nervous, though, Alan. This would have been our 13th year, except for COVID. Does that diminish the jinx quality of this? So it's still our 13th. I don't know.
You know, we're going to look at it as just kind of like the hotel thing.
Yeah.
You know, we had year 12. We're going to go straight into 14.
There
Just
we
keep
go.
right on
So,
rocking.
Anyway, it's a 12th day, and we are as excited as we can be because we're bringing everything back. You know, we had to postpone some things because of COVID last. You know, and we still have it, but we're able to safely do a lot of the former activities. So one of the things that's cool is we have a great guest of honor, Adasa. She's a hip hop artist. She's in the movie Encanto. She plays Dolores, who's one of the main family members, but she's one of the lead singers for "We Don't Talk About Bruno." And I mean, I think everybody's heard that song. It is the earworm of the century.
It is.
I think Disney has scientists that understand brain chemistry, and they find ways to make their music stick in your head. But anyway,
that one does.
Great
That one
movie.
really
She
does.
is such a nice lady, and she's excited about coming out. So she's going to be here. You can meet her in person. We've got video game tournaments that we're going to be doing. We've got Lego Lane.
Legos.
We've got the vendor room. If you've never been to a convention, I would strongly encourage it because you go and you can see you meet comic book artists. If you want to have yourself drawn as a superhero. A custom superhero by a professional comic book artist. You can do that. It's a great place to kickstart your Christmas shopping because you get handmade, one-of-a-kind items that are just, you get these awesome collectibles. So there's a lot to tell you about. And then, of course, on Saturday night, we're looking forward to the Piranha Room, which is a 80s and 90s Gothic dance club that we recreate. There's a lot to tell you about, and I can't get to it all here. So what I would recommend, go to Memphis Comic and Fantasy's Facebook page, and join us there and go to Memphis CFC to get tickets. And our dates were November 18th through 20th at the Memphis Marriott East here in East Memphis. It's at Poplar and 240. So, and then, one more week of this and then I'll be done with the plugs. But Allan, I mean, come on. I want people to, I want our Tool Talk listeners to show up because this will be interesting meeting,
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Get to run around and see what we do with when you don't see us on the radio.
Yeah, exactly. And if you come to the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention, make sure you stop by Allan's booth. He's going to have the Dark Oak Media booth and find me and say hello. So, all right. Hey, Allan, let's shift gears. We are long overdue for a discussion about dowels.
No, we actually are, believe it or not.
I wonder if people are rolling their eyes at the moment.
Sounds like such a boring discussion.
Well,
it's like there's an episode of Parks and Recreation where they're doing like a woodworkers award, and it's like, all right, guys, here's the big one, best desk.
Well, I mean, I would love to go to that woodworking award ceremony. Well, Max, you scoff, but to the craftsmen, maybe dowels are. Here's the thing.
I mean, hey, to be fair, I've used dowels in my cosplays and everything.
Right. Okay. Anyway.
Well, a good dowel will keep that wing in place. There you go.
Here's the thing.
What I'm going to point out is repairs.
Well, okay, I'm assuming people know what a wooden dowel is.
It's a stick.
But if you're not a woodworker, so Allan, I studied classical furniture design, and our teacher taught us that, all sorts of joints, and you did not use screws in unless you're putting a doorknob on a cabinet or something.
Right.
But he taught us how to use wood joints and glue basically to attach things, or even if you're really tricky like the Japanese woodworking techniques where you use wedges and things like that. But dowels were generally I will say this, dowels in the day were generally things you didn't see. You drilled a couple of holes, you butted two pieces of wood together, you filled them with glue, and you attached them. However, there are furniture designs where maybe you use a square dowel, or maybe you even still and it's actually you see it, like maybe there's a joint on a table and they stuck a wood dowel in there and they left it exposed, and it's a pretty cool detail.
Right.
The misconception I think people have, though, is that the dowel is what's holding everything together. What I wanted to say is the glue is the hero of this operation. So.
I'm going to say it's a 50-50 tag team.
Okay, talk to me.
Well, the dowel brings to the party the fact that it's something rigid and can't be knocked loose. The glue, on the other hand, but the glue is that wonderful, adhesion between surfaces,
right?
But it is still just an adhesion between the surfaces,
right?
So that can be knocked loose. So again, with your normal expansion and contraction, as things absorb and dissipate with moisture.
Mm-hmm.
That's what loosens these joints up. Is years and years of being really, really dry. The moisture content goes down. The wood can pop that glue.
Sure.
But if there's a dowel in there, there is now that rigid link across both.
Right.
And it just prevents that little tiny bit of motion, which can crack your adhesive.
Yeah. Well, I would say this too about dowels. Okay. There's something I feel like there's a little bit of a trend where they're being what triggered this for me, Allan, is I was watching a YouTube video and they showed it was basically like it was a decorative piece of furniture with a drawer. And the drawer was exposed, if you could say. I'm not exposed. The corner of the table was exposed. And they took dowels and they went in at a 45-degree angle and they went through both pieces of wood that are like there was like just a dovetail joint holding them together. They went at a 45-degree angle and they put these dowels in, and then you sand the edges, and it looked really cool. It was almost like rivets.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's adding a lot of strength right there. But I still say without the glue, you're getting 50% of the strength.
Well,
So
I agree. I agree. But I think it's the tag team.
Yeah.
Because also the dowel is generally a softer, very porous wood.
Right.
And absorbs glue very easily, thus making it a great substrate for really getting a grip, letting that glue really get a grip on the other particles.
Right. Yep.
Because, we're talking, it's kind of these weird things. If you've ever tried to glue like a broken piece of plastic together and it just falls back apart.
Sure.
And it's because there's just nothing there for the glue to grab.
Right.
And that dowel really provides the glue something to really get hold of and allow the grain around it to moisturize a little bit and pop up and let that glue, as it hardens and cures, get that really solid grip.
Yeah. I think I like, trust me, folks, I'm going to wrap it up soon. But the thing about it that inspired me was dowels. I wonder how far back they go because, I mean, you're using wooden or rubber mallets to tap them in.
Yeah.
You're using, I don't know, there's something old school about it that I like, but I also like the notion that they can be used decoratively and for function.
Wooden spikes in furniture go back about as far as furniture goes back.
Right.
So from the beginning, we've been using this technology. I'm going to throw in a wooden dowel is a great secret way of repairing that broke wooden handle or piece of a furniture because you just drill out both sides a little bit, put a dowel in it, get it glued up, slide it back into place. And now you've got that extra strength because you broke it somehow the first time, and now you've got a wooden core back in the middle.
Allan, you just unlocked my... I knew there was a reason I wanted to talk about dowels today. Here's the thing. Okay, because I had... I make these walking sticks. I do these decorative walking sticks, and I came up with this walking stick design, and after the fact... Because, folks, if you don't know... Go to thorshomes.com and I have a page where I do these. My principle with those, Allan, is I'll take a piece of maple and one solid piece, it's usually about 38 inches long, and I will carve a walking stick, and it's usually, I make the whole thing decorative. And anyway, after the fact, I had this one design, and I really liked it, but I'm like, if it just had, there was like this last little 5-inch section that I'm like, if I would have done this, or this, it would really jazz it up. So I just went ahead and made a top for this walking stick and attached it. And I foolishly used a piece of, the metal bar basically. And I stuck epoxy in there. And you know what happened?
Yeah.
It separated, it broke, whatever.
Yep.
Then I cleaned it out and I stuck a dowel filled with the proper wood glue, and that thing is as rigid as can be. I mean, because you put a lot of weight on a walking stick, but it's permeating, the glue's permeating through the pores and everything. So just because it's meant, I guess what I'm just saying is you don't always have to reach for the metallic or screw or anything like that,
Not always the best answer. I just remember the very first time I was working on a chair leg. That was really old. I mean, this is about a 150-year-old chair, so we really didn't want to, throw it away.
Right.
It wasn't greatly valuable or anything. It was just old. It'd been around a long time, and we couldn't figure out how to get the legs stable enough without wrapping something around it. And we just I honestly cheated. You know how much I love playing with chopsticks.
Oh yeah, cheap and
cheap, and they're made out of rattan, and they're virtually indestructible.
Right.
And so we cut about 3 inches off the bottom of the chopstick, drilled down into the bottom, drilled up into the top, made sure everything fit together, glued it up really good. I got news for you. That shit's been 15, oh my gosh, it's been more like 25 years later.
Right.
And that chair is still, that leg is probably the most solid leg on the chair at this point.
Oh, absolutely. So, yeah, I don't know. Dowel, I felt like they deserve a shout out and maybe rethinking the dowel.
It's an overlooked but really great tool for the toolbox.
It is, yeah. And just make something with dowel. And if you really want to get ambitious, get yourself a square dowel because they do make these drill bits that will drill a square hole.
Yes.
Those are cool. And that's a cool look. That's a neat touch, man. So,
and there's something to be said for having different textures. And like you said, if you really space this out properly, you can create a fantastic look.
I'll tell you this, Allan, and I'm happy to admit this on the air. I've got to build shutters for my house, and I don't want to just do the cookie cutter, whatever shutters. And I'm going to use this I'm going to take. I'm thinking I don't want to say they're medieval, but they're going to have wooden dowels that are exposed. So maybe the dowel part is darker than the actual whatever, and maybe even leave it exposed like a quarter of an inch. I think it's going to be an interesting look, and we'll see how it handles the weather. But anyway, well, Allan, I want to shift gears again.
Okay.
Too much positivity, won't serve.
You just feeling warm and cheery this morning?
I had a suggested viewing.
Okay.
We joke about this a lot, but I genuinely think they're useful. Okay, if you go to YouTube, you're not, just type in "total idiots at work" or anything like that. We've seen these.
That's my Wednesday. What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, we laugh.
That's
about
Allan's weekend review.
Oh my gosh.
I still think there's a lot to learn. Now, I will say this. I don't like these videos where they're posting things where somebody genuinely gets injured. Like, I don't want that. However, when you see people doing really, really ill-advised or just really stupid things at work, it's a learning experience. You're like, okay, well, I know not to do that. I think there's educational value, honestly. I don't know. And they're funny.
Yeah, well, there's the real crux is,
So,
watching somebody else's misfortune is, Now, the one thing you got to be aware of all is what they call the fake setup accident.
if there's two cameras, it's fake.
And the camera's looking at the car, the camera's looking at the tree, the camera's looking at the car, the camera's looking at the tree. We all know where the tree is going to fall. It's going to fall on the car.
Right.
The worst one I ever saw was some people on a mining thing. They were looking for rocks up on a mountainside, and they had parked their truck like a mile away out. And one of them kind of got to playing with the shale and was kind of standing it up and letting it roll down the mountain, and it would break up halfway down. Well, he found the one magic piece. And he let that baby go, and they're watching it, and it's rolling down the hill, and everybody's kind of like, ooh, good one, ooh, good one. Well, it didn't break up about halfway down. About 2/3 of the way down, they're all going, this probably wasn't a good idea.
Yeah.
And about at the bottom of the hill, everybody's going, it could not possibly hit the truck. And this thing just turned on the lasers and just right into the side of this guy's truck. And I was like, what were the odds?
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of value, too, in remembering the law of gravity. A lot of people, you see fails with that, like the misuse of ladders and just the forgetting, okay, all right, gravity is going to win,
especially
on,
an extension ladder, and this is coming from a big guy.
Yeah.
I'm going to pay very close attention to the tension weight guide of your extension ladder. Don't get cheap.
Yeah.
Really, don't get cheap. If you weigh over 250 and you got a 200-pound ladder, you really need to stay off of it.
Don't angle it too much.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that, I don't know. I just, because we always, I just felt like it was worth mentioning because we overlook that stuff. I mean, or we mention it enough, but I'm just like, actually you learn quite a bit by watching this. So, about what. Sometimes learning what not to do is a good thing.
Yeah, I've learned a whole lot of things not to do that I'm glad there wasn't a camera.
I don't know. I had one more thing I want to throw out there, but okay. Well, let's just do it. We'll tease it because I think this may be something that we build on. But Allan, I was in my garage, just doing my thing, and I happened to glance down and I saw my trusty belt sander. Now, okay, I don't have a cordless belt sander yet, Allan.
Right.
So
got
whatever.
a cord, that's fine.
However, I was just thinking of how much I've been through with that belt sander, and how, I mean, it's sort of indestructible, and how productive the belt sander is. It's like, and I bought it for like $50. I've got it 20 years later, and I love the belt sander. Do you got any good belt sander memories? I mean,
I've got a lot of I love cool old tools.
Yeah.
And, we've all got an old favorite.
Right.
My favorite two tools in the entire world, both of which you have met on the job site with me.
The crowbar?
Is Smack and Yellow.
Yeah.
I got a great big old sledgehammer and a great big giant wrecking bar. I can't even call it a crowbar. It's a wrecking bar. And these are just great tools. And when you get into like something like a really good sander that and the thing is you've really got the feel for it because it's just the right way
for it, right?
Just had to get the right pressure. If you've got a really good sander, you've got the knack for, you can refinish almost anything.
That's what I love about my belt sander. It's like you pick it up and you get results. And you see the results.
You know exactly what you're going to get and how you're going to get it.
Yeah, I don't know. I was looking at it and I just thought, I really appreciate my belt sander, and I just wanted to mention that on the air. So
there you go. A little shout out to your belt sander.
Does your belt sander have a name?
I got to names everything.
Old Belty.
Yeah, Old Belty. Anyway, I'll come up with a name. If you've got a suggestion for what I should call my belt sander,
there you go.
Let me know. All right, Allan, we staggered to the finish line here at Tool Talk Radio, but it's time to get out of here. So on behalf of my buddy Allan Gilbreth and our pal Max over there behind the glass, and our listener Robbie, thanks for weighing in. I'm Joe Thorderson. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.